Welcome to Check Rock. This is my very special own segment by myself. Sean is not here. I'm doing a kind of a on the spot. That's actually a dope ass name. I'm probably calling it on the spot. It's called on the spot. Just came up with the name right now. So really, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down damn near every trade, or well, all the major trades to me, and I'm just gonna talk about them. So the first trade, the start off trade deadline, was the Sixers, my Philadelphia 76ers, trading Buddy Hield for Furkan Korkmaz, who finally gets his trade request. Marcus Morris, who we kind of figured was going to be one of the odd men out. Three first and second round picks, which we acquired kind of through like different trades, and we weren't really going to use them anyway. We got Buddy Hield. I think it adds a great amount of shooting. Obviously, none of this really matters if Joel's not healthy. We kind of just have Buddy as another spacer that helps Tyrese, get to the rim, do more things. I feel like we lacked a lot of spacing, and I'm going to get into my Sixers really a lot more at the end of the video because I got a lot to say. Then we got another trade, which was kind of shocking, a little bit. The Utah Jazz trade Ochai Agbaji. I thought when they made a trade for when Fonseca. I forget. I'm sorry if I'm butchering his name, but they made a trade for him, and he was kind of splitting minutes with Ochai Agbaji. So I thought that they were maybe trading him to open up space for Ochai, and they end up trading him. Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji go to the Raptors. The Jazz get Otto Porter, Kara Lewis Jr., and a 2024 first round pick. It's kind of a neutral trade because like the Raptors, they get another guy from Canada. I think that's cool. Ochai Agbaji added to what they already have. I think it's very cool. Like I think what they have right now, it kind of reminds me of like that Brooklyn Nets team. That Brooklyn Nets team where it had D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, like all these young guys coming together who kind of were like casted off. You get Ochai Agbaji, 3-and-D, Kelly Olynyk. Everybody know he can space the floor. The Jazz getting Otto Porter and Kara Lewis. I think they're really doing it to take a real chance at Kara Lewis. Otto Porter might be a guy that gets brought out. In the 2024 first round pick, it doesn't ever hurt to get a first round pick for them. So it works for the Raptors, adding more spacing to Scotty and RJ and Emmanuel Quigley, and losing Pascal, trading OG, and getting more like bigger guys, bigger defensive guys. I mean Kelly's not really the defensive guy, but still like spacing, adding that to Scotty's having a real breakout season. Just got put on as the All-Star reserve for Joel. I think he's replacing Joel. So this is the next trade. Kind of didn't make sense. It's my Sixers. The only reason I'm talking about it. Daniel House getting out for like a second round pick doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But we also get a second round pick back. Didn't really matter. Gordon Hayward going to the Thunder. I thought that was kind of out of left field. I knew the Thunder obviously have assets to make damn near any trade for anybody, which makes them a very deadly team. And the fact that they're so good right now is very crazy. So the Thunder receives Gordon Hayward. The Hornets received, this is actually crazy, Vagisil, I don't know how to say his name, but I was calling VM. VM was actually a pick back from the Sixers back in 2014 when Joel got drafted. And I guess he finally is overseas again. I guess he's finally into the NBA. Trey Mann, I feel like, was kind of getting buried behind all of the Thunder guards and everybody who, all the guards over there and their success. Is like you kind of really don't have time for a young talent to develop. Davis Bertans is going to get thrown around the league until his contract is eventually out, and I think it's out at the end of the season. So I think Gordon Hayward adds a nice scoring punch to the Thunder. I think that it's a very good pickup for them, honestly. I mean, for the Hornets, it's kind of like you're just doing things. You're just doing things for draft compensation, and you're trying to do something. I don't know. I honestly don't know what the Hornets are doing. They did keep Miles Bridges. I think they made another trade or they were a part of another trade, but I don't know how that is. Now, this trade I think is very good for the Mavericks. So the Mavericks got Daniel Gafford from the Wizards. Wizards get Rashawn Holmes and like a 2024 first round pick. I think this is great. He's a rim running big. I think Derek Lively has done well, but also he's a rookie and also he's been injured. So getting Daniel Gafford, another guy who can kind of play defense, undersized but has ups, really rim runs, kind of I want to say Clint Capella mode, because he doesn't have the rebounding of a Clint Capella, but like kind of that rim running, throwing lobs. I think this is perfect fit for Luka. Just another option, screen guy, screen and roll. I think it helps him out. And Rashawn Holmes is probably another guy that probably either stays on the Wizard or gets brought out. But the Wizards really do it for the 2024 first round pick. And then we move on to the most, I think the biggest trade of the day. Honestly, was the biggest trade of the day. The Knicks. I think the Knicks won. Well, I didn't think the Knicks won the trade deadline. They won the trade deadline. The Knicks get Alec Burks, Bojan Bogdanovic. The Pistons get Evan Fournier, Malachi Flynn, Quentin Grimes, who's the big asset in that trade going back to the Pistons. Ryan Arcidiacono, damn. Jalen Brunson loses one of his Villanova brothers, but they're still good. Two future second round picks and some cash. But for the Knicks, getting those two guys to replace Evan Fournier, who was never going to play, Malachi Flynn, who was kind of spotty minutes. Quentin Grimes is the guy that was actually in the rotation, but I guess I don't know whether he was upset or they just didn't see him in the role or they wanted to go older. And getting Quentin Grimes back for the Pistons, I think Pistons had a real underrated deadline. I think they have had a really underrated deadline. They got a lot of good pieces back. I mean, it doesn't stop them from having damn near the worst record in NBA history, but it does help them and, get better. I feel like Quentin Grimes, you add that to what else you have in your young core, and that adds a lot. They have two future second-round picks, cash. But the Knicks are the big winner. I think the Knicks have probably catapulted themselves to the second-best team in the East. I'm not even bullshitting you. I think the Knicks are now the second-best team in the East. I think it's clear. I think they're the clear second-best team in the East now. They got depth. They got the star guys. Obviously, Julius Randle's out with a dislocated shoulder right now. But OG, Alec Burks, Bogdanovic, they're doing it. They're doing it. You re-signed Josh Hart in the offseason. Jalen Brunson's on fire. Every time I watch a Knicks game, he does not miss. So the Knicks are, I feel like they have a legit chance. And it's crazy from watching the Knicks, in my entire tenure of watching the NBA, the Knicks were kind of the laughingstock. But now they're legit. This is a legit contender. I know Knicks fans, this is crazy. But you have a legit contender. You guys match up well against Boston. I mean, obviously Boston will still be the favorite, but you have a legit contender. Congratulations. The next trade kind of was weird, and it got weirder. This next trade got weird, and it was the Raptors trading Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young to the Brooklyn Nets, and then the Raptors received Spencer Dinwiddie. So it was a weird trade because it was kind of guard for guard, and then they kind of added Thaddeus Young at the end. And then the Raptors make it even weirder by releasing Spencer Dinwiddie. They released him. They made this trade just to release them. And then they were talking about how they got under the cap. And from what the Raptors have already done, I guess it kind of makes sense that they don't need him, but making that trade and losing Dennis Schroeder kind of doesn't make sense. But I understand it from the cap perspective. So it's all right, they want to get under the text, and I guess they feel like, Dennis Schroeder is replaceable, especially with Emmanuel quickly. So, hey, it happened. And especially Dinwiddie is probably a guy that a lot of teams are going to look at, especially teams that didn't make moves, like Los Angeles. The Mavericks made a move. We're going to get to that a little bit later. But, him going back to the Mavericks might be a move. Him going to the Sixers damn near have nobody on their roster now. And once again, Sixer fans, I'm getting to that at the end. And here we go, the other Mavs trade. So P.J. Washington is going from the Hornets to the Mavs. The Hornets receive Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first-round pick in 2027. For them, I think they get a spacing. I think P.J. Washington is going to be for the Mavs what they thought Christian Wood was going to be, a spot-up shooter. I don't know how he is really rebounding the ball, kind of sketchy with all that, but I think he's going to be an upgrade of what you thought you were going to get from Christian Wood. And for the Hornets, getting Grant Williams, I honestly thought they were going to flip him, but we're here after the deadline. It's currently 3:50 p.m., so the deadline's over. I thought they was going to flip Grant Williams. They have Grant Williams, they have Seth Curry, and they both add shooting, and Grant Williams adds defense. I don't really understand this for the Hornets, but then again, the Hornets are the Hornets, so nothing really makes sense. Next trade was a weird one. Another weird one. So the Suns end up getting Royce O'Neal from the Nets, and they got David Roddy from the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies got pick swaps, and they got Yuta Watanabe, which is crazy because Yuta started his career with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies receive future pick swaps as well. I think I said that already. The Nets receive 3 future second-round picks. And for the Grizzlies, they've been doing this a lot. They've been trading guys that kind of replaceable to get picks. Obviously, they're in a situation where they're not really competing for anything right now, and they're trying to get all their guys back healthy, and they've had a real injury-prone season from damn near top to bottom. And they traded Steven Adams not too long ago. I think they're clearing house of like guys that could be replaceable for them. And now they have a lot of picks. They're acquiring a lot of picks. So going into the offseason, the Grizzlies might be a team to look out for because they're adding a lot of picks. And they added like some pick swaps, which if it's from the Suns, it's probably not going to be that good. But it's probably not going to be that good. But I'm guessing it's going to be like future. I'm probably talking like 2029, 2030, where like the Suns could have probably broken up at that point, or the team could really have broken up. So this next trade, as a Sixers fan, killed my joy, and this is where I start to question Daryl Morey. So the Bucks trade for Patrick Beverley. The Sixers receive Cameron Payne and a second-round pick. So I'm going to get into this a little bit more than I got into any of the other trades because this is my team. Sixers are my team. I don't know what the fuck Daryl Morey is doing. Like, I honest to God don't know what he's doing and what he's getting out of this. Cameron Payne, I looked up his stats. He's averaging like 6 points, like 2.3 assists, stuff like that. He is shooting 39% from 3. We do need shooters. But once again, Patrick Beverley was a tone setter for us. Was a guy that was pushing his teammates. You saw it in the Nuggets game. Raleigh and his teammates. You saw it in the Nuggets game. You saw it in that Boston game when we were shorthanded. Like, he rallies his teammates. He was a coacher. He as Sixer fans, we have lacked a coacher, right? And I feel like culture is such a big thing in the NBA or sports or just a team in general. And Patrick Beverley brought culture to us. And here we are trading him for Cam Payne and a second-round pick. It doesn't make sense for what we have. And now we're lacking a guard. We're lacking defense. We already out D'Anthony Melton because he's out with a spine injury right now. Who knows when he's supposed to come back? He's supposed to come back 2 days ago, and he had a setback. So now we're out of Patrick Beverley. We're out of our best perimeter defender. And we get back Cam Payne. And like, listen, you're on a Sixers down campaign, so I'm going to support you because I need you to do well right now. And we're in a shithole, and we're sliding games. And Patrick Beverley, for me, it just didn't make sense. And Daryl Morey, like, I honestly don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, I don't know what you was doing. That first trade, I was like, oh, shit, Daryl Morey. All we traded was Marcus Morris, a Furkan Korkmaz, and fucking 3 seconds, and we got Buddy Hill. Oh, shit, Daryl Morey's going to snap. And then he does some shit like this, where it's like, bro, I don't understand it. He was a culture setter for us. He was driving home for us. He was a mentor in the locker room for us. And that short period of time, this half a season that Patrick Beverley has played for the 76ers, it was felt. No, he didn't shoot the best from 3. No, he wasn't the best offensive guys. But that defense, he brought that every night. Every night. And you can't disregard that. You cannot disregard that. And, like, I was really hurt. Like, I was really hurt on Patrick Beverley going somewhere else. And that should tell you how much he meant to not just the team, but also the city. Like, Patrick Beverley, if you know Philly sports and you know the Philly area and how rowdy we are, how judgmental at times we are, Patrick Beverley just embodied that. We're a hard-nosed city. Patrick Beverley is that. And then losing that, and it doesn't make sense. Like, Daryl Morey has a lot to explain. This press conference or whatever he does, he has a lot to explain. Because this does not help us. It doesn't. Like, you might go, Patrick Beverley's not a shooter. Cameron Payne is shooting 39%. You kind of win because when Joel comes back, you have another shooter. It's like, no, like that impact and those certain players that have that impact, you can't replace. You can't replace those certain players. You cannot replace. I'm sorry, I'm checking because make sure anybody else's. Kyle Lowry is a priority. Lots of people got better this point in competition. Blah blah. Joel tweeted. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything. Um, it's weird. This trade is very weird for me. Next trade. This doesn't matter. The Pacers get Doug McDermott. They flip Marcus Morris, and the second round pick get Doug McDermott. Doug McDermott is going back to the Pacers. Robin Lopez for cash consideration. Delano Banton goes to the Blazers for a second round pick. And this trade right here. Sixers, mind you, time is clicking. And this trade happened at, I believe, 2:59. 2:59 this trade came in. Jaden Springer for the second round pick. For all those who could check Jaden Springer's stats, you're going to be like, oh, why does this matter? Why does this individual player matter? He's a young guy who wasn't really going to get time anyway, and with all the additions possibly that was going to happen this deadline, he's going to get further down the bench. But the Sixers did two things this deadline that I hate. And it's not just losing the players, it's to where the players are going. They traded Patrick Beverley to the Bucks. They traded Jalen Springer to the Celtics. Those are two rivals. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? And Jalen Springer, for all his offensive struggles, is a great defensive player. He's a raw defensive player. Now there's another Sixer killer. Like, I see Jalen Springer going to the Celtics and just dogging the Sixers now in the limited minutes. And it just sucks that we're giving players away damn near for nothing. Like, if you wanted to trade Jaden Springer, you picked up his option. We picked up his option earlier this year. If you wanted to trade Jaden Springer, I'm sorry, I can't even talk. I'm frustrated. If you wanted to trade Jaden Springer, you could have did in the offseason. You could have done a lot of this shit in the offseason. And it just doesn't make sense. Like, that's another move where it's like, why? And then when the move happened, I'm like, oh shit. It's like 2:59 deadline, but deadline, moves coming in after the deadline. So I'm like, okay, cool. They're requiring second round picks. Oh, they're probably going after Drummond. Like, Drummond was the name I thought they were going after. And then once they get this pick, once this trade goes through, probably 3 minutes later, Chicago Bulls and their people drop that they're keeping Drummond. So I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe they go somewhere else because they were interested in Andre Drummond. They were interested in Kelly Olynyk. Both were. One was traded already, and the other one was not available. So I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe there's a player that I'm not thinking about that the Sixers are going to get because they just got a second-round pick. They just got 3 second-round picks back. Nothing happens. And I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. Nothing. So we traded Jaden Springer. We traded Patrick Beverley for no fucking reason. No reason but just to say, we made a trade. We made a trade, guys. We made a trade. And we opened up a roster spots. For who? Kyle Lowry? Kyle Lowry is 2 years from retiring, if not this year. Spencer Dinwiddie is an option. But, like, there's nobody. It doesn't make sense to do what you did. It doesn't make sense. And then the last trade of the day was Corey Joseph's going to the Pacers. Warriors getting second round pick and cash considerations. So I talked about all the trades in a little bit, some more than others. So now I get on Daryl Morey. Daryl Morey has put us in a situation where I don't know how we recover. And it's weird because on one hand, I want us to compete this year, and on the other hand, we don't have Joel, so it's like no matter what we do wasn't really going to hold as much weight as it could possibly hold because Joel's out. Like, that Buddy Hield pickup is a tremendous pickup, but only if Joel's there. Because that gravity of Buddy Hield and that gravity of Tyrese Maxey and that gravity of Joel Embiid helps the team so much. It helps Tobias Harris, helps the Kelly Oubre's, it helps the now Robert Covington when he gets back, the Anthony Meltons, those guys to cut into the rim and get into those actions. It helps those guys. But none of this shit matters if Joel's injured. And so I'm like holding that, and I'm like trying not to get as mad as I possibly could. Because if Joel's healthy and these were the moves that we made, I would be fucking furious. I would be fucking furious. Like, this is all you did. So, like, a part of me is like, okay, this season might be a dud anyway. Right? I don't look at this team and go, this is a championship contender. Like another guy who I wanted us to get or go try to go get is Michael Brogdon. Michael Brogdon is still in. Nobody could get him. He's still in the Trailblazers right now. Bogdanovich and Burks, they said we were in talks with them, and I'm pretty sure that the Pistons wanted Tobias Harris. So you're telling me you are willing to let a rival in the New York Knicks get both of those players because you wanted to keep Tobias Harris, who's an expiring contract, and 9 times out of 10, the Pistons were going to fucking overpay anyway. So you let a rival get 2 guys you could have got because of Tobias Harris. And although I respect Tobias Harris and I respect what he's done for the locker room, and he has had games, and he does deserve more respect than he has gotten, but the contract, it's hard to give him the respect because every time he does something, it's like, he's supposed to do that. And Tobias Harris is just not that player. And the Sixers kind of pigeonholed. Elton Brand was his first-year GM, threw him money because they lost Jimmy, and it was like, okay, we can't lose everybody. We are in a situation where, like, hey, if Joel comes back, Kyle Lowry, it seems like Kyle Lowry is damn near a Sixer. We're just waiting for the buyout. Spencer Dinwiddie could possibly be a Sixer. I don't know any other backup bigs that is out there. I think Paul Reed is cool, but like I don't really trust him that much. I don't trust Mo Bamba that much. Getting a backup center, like a legit backup center, would really help that, especially in the times that we in right now with no Joel Embiid. It sucks right now, honestly, to be a Sixer fan. And I know there's teams like Chicago, the Lakers fans, Hawks fans, where there was no trade at all. And Bulls fans, I'm sorry that it's like this. Lakers fans, you kind of brought it on to yourself. And then the Hawks fans, it's kind of like the Paul George thing with the Hawks fans. Kind of like when Paul George kind of called out the Pacers with being happy with being okay. And I think that's what the Hawks have done. They've been happy with being okay. The Chicago Bulls are trying to run back a 30-win team. The Lakers don't look great, but they've also been injured, and they've been trying to throw players around and stuff like that. And then they were looking into DeJounte Murray. Then D'Angelo Russell started playing well, which kind of made them kind of a little stingy. I'm not wanting to let go of D'Angelo Russell to get DeJounte Murray. There's a lot of weirdness, and I feel like this is one of the more strategic deadlines that we've had, because I feel like there's a lot of parity. I was in Kenny Beecham, King of Fourth Quarters. I was in his Twitch chat, and he was like, he feels though a lot of teams didn't make moves because there's so much parity. There's so much parity. So teams that should not believe they have a chance because of the parity. Like, we might not have the top players, but we do have depth. So we could possibly beat a team that's top heavy. But we are as Sixer fans, and bringing it back to us, we're in a very weird situation. A very weird situation. And I don't know really where to go with this. Having Buddy with Hill is going to be nice. Campaign, haven't really watched enough with him. Just looked at stats and looks cool. Kyle Lowry is most likely on his way. But, like, other than that, it's kind of like, bro, we got kind of older in a way. And I know we got to fill out our roster as well. Our roster is very thin. I think, D'Anthony Melton, Robert Covington, voice just cracked. Just ignore that. Like, D'Anthony Melton, Robert Covington, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, Nicholas Batum, KJ Martin, who's still on the team, which was drawing interest, was kind of weird that he wasn't one of the guys that they traded for a second-round pick. Didn't make sense because he wasn't even playing. Jaden Springer was playing more than KJ Martin. He's still there. So I expect them to potentially Paul Reed and Mo Bamba. Like, it's a very weird, like, we have a very weird team of guys. And don't get me wrong, Buddy Hill is going to help. I'm pretty sure Campaign in his ways is going to help. It just doesn't seem right. Obviously, all this is not going to seem right because Joel's not healthy. So maybe I'm overthinking it. Tell me in the comments if you're watching this how your team did. What's your reaction to the trades? New York, by far won it. I think the Pistons had a very sneaky one. They had a very sneaky one. Though it won't hold weight because of where they are already. They're damn near already eliminated for the playoffs already, and here we are in fucking February. But tell me how your team did. Tell me what you would want your team to do. Buyout market should be happening right now as we speak, and teams should be gouging for players to get brought out. Gallinari is probably a guy that might get brought out. Spacing, stuff like that. It's very weird. Weird times we are as NBA fans, and a lot of teams didn't do nothing. I think last year 28 teams made trades, and this year it was 16 trades altogether. Very weird situation we're in. So tell me how your team did. Tell me what you want your team to do, because a lot of teams didn't do nothing at all. And hey, appreciate you for watching. I don't know what else to say. This is very weird. I'm kind of frustrated, but I'm also not frustrated. But it's like I am. It's very weird. So I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you for tuning in to this very special edition of kind of On the Spot. On the Spot. I named it On the Spot once I started. I don't know how I got the name, but I kind of like it. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.